Live the Goals Podcast, your place for motivation, life lessons, and laughter. Don't settle for wandering through a mundane life. Instead, let us help you reach your goals and live a fulfilling life doing what you love. Our guests know what it's like to live with purpose and laugh along the way. Warning, if you're a stick in the mud, you definitely need to stick around. Loosen up your ties, kick off your high heels, and let's get to it with your host, Dale Richardson.
All right, friends and family, back again for another great episode of Live the Goals Podcast. This is your host, Dale Richardson, and I'm here with a fantastic guest today. Today's interview guest is Faussette, and he is the founder of Leaders for Leaders, LLC. And with over a decade of leadership training, coaching, speaking, and actually personal experience in Fortune 500 companies, Dom knows how to extract the unidentified natural leadership ability that you currently possess. Now, Dom often shares that leadership is a moment-to-moment choice and not about title, tenure, or position. Right. In other words, leadership is for everyone, every day. Dom, are you ready to help us set and reach goals that matter?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My man, Dale. What's up? What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm feeling great today, man. I'm excited. Learning from you. My friends and family are going to learn from you. So this is something I've been looking forward to. I think I told you before we started, today has been a research day for me. So I'm excited to get online and talk to you and have you share with our friends and family.
Awesome.
So Dom, I gave him kind of the scripted bio of you, but I know you're so much more than just that little bit that I told people.
Okay.
I'd love for you to tell them a little bit more about yourself.
My name is Dom Faussette, executive coach, leadership speaker. You know, one of the things I think is really most important is how you and I met, right? We met at the John Maxwell conference.
Yes.
And what I liked about Dale is the fact that he's very real. He's very sincere. Yes, he's an attorney, but he doesn't he doesn't have that air about him. He's very humble, but he's confident. And I naturally tend to not get along. People that aren't confident will be a little awkward when they're around me in my presence. But when you and I were speaking, it was really a lot of value add in that conversation. But about me, ex-cop, prior military, I was K-9 in the military, cop, then I got out of that, and then I ended up going to just kind of following the corporate arena. But I've been speaking and coaching for about 10 years. One of the questions I get a lot is like, what got you into speaking? And what I find hilarious is the fact that I stuttered until I was 21, in 2021, where I couldn't introduce myself. I couldn't even say my name. Growing up, everybody talked for me because I was embarrassing to be around. Like, it just was what it was. I had a speech impediment. Mm-hmm. But I learned that I wasn't the only one with problems. I learned a lot of that as a cop. Like, people hurt. People need a leader. And I started speaking in schools, and then I started going to I started getting called to houses, and I don't care if the house was like a $100,000 home or a multi-million-dollar home. People hurt.
Yeah.
I used to think money changed everything, and it doesn't. So that's kind of what led me to do what I do now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great place for us to start. But I got to pause here. Like, you got me going. I want to jump into the meat of this. I got something that I do at the beginning of every podcast. And this is perfect because you talked about the way we met. And one of the things, not only were we sharing information back to back, and forth, and not only was a lot of value added, but we were laughing a lot too, right?
Definitely. You had a good time.
We had a good time. And so I start every podcast episode asking people to tell me something that made you laugh recently.
Oh my gosh. So I have a son who's 6 years old. Uh-huh. And the other night, myself, my wife, and my son were sitting down about to say prayers. And he looks at me and says, "Dad, I want to poop ninja swords. I wish I could poop out ninja swords." I'm like, "Son, what is it's your bedtime, man? You need to go to bed." Yeah. And I said, "What? Like, you're gonna hurt yourself, Michael. Like, you can't do that." He looks at me and says, "No, I won't. The handle would come out first." I was like, you know what? Let's pray. Man.
I love it. The mind of a child, man.
Imagination's crazy.
Right. But if we could keep that imagination as adults, right? I mean, we come up with some stuff.
Right.
We might not poop ninja swords, but
I hope not.
but we figure some stuff out.
Right.
So here's what I wanted to jump into before I kind of broke it up and got that in is we're going to get to goals. We're going to get to motivation and passion, but you already touched on something. You touched on obstacles. I mean, although we knew each other a little bit, I did a little digging and learning that you had a speech impediment from the age of 5 to 21.
Right.
I mean, that is an obstacle, especially when people look at you now and say, hold on, wait, you're a speaker? And you're
right.
What that, I don't even get that. And then, going a little more into your story about other obstacles you had as far as being diagnosed as ADD, right? And so, and going through a period of depression. I'd love for you to share with us, just take us back to any of those moments, so we can kind of feel what you were going through, because I want to give folks that, and then we can take them to what happens after that.
Yeah, definitely. So let's start with this stuttering thing. So I still stutter right now, right? But it was funny. I spoke I did a presentation at work.
Yeah.
A lot of leaders were there, and somebody walked up to me and he was just like, dude, it was too polished. I was like, wow,
Right.
That's the feedback I needed, because I wasn't comfortable with who I am.
Right.
I still stutter, but from 5 to 21, I stuttered. And I'm like, what caused you to stop stuttering? Hindsight. So like I said, I was K-9 in the military. I learned the value of nonverbal communication. So I spent a lot of time with my dog, Clint. We go on deployments and training with dogs. Dogs don't talk. But I also learned that there's therapists that help kids that stutter. They use stuffed animals, right?
Oh, wow.
And a lot of times we don't like being judged, which causes us some level of anxiety, stress, pressure. For some people, that turns into stuttering. Other people, tics and things like that. So for me, one day I was just talking to my dog. I'm on a deployment middle of Africa, and I'm just talking, like, it's just me and him. It's Clint. So we're talking, and I just realized, I'm like, whoa, I'm not even stuttering. Like, then years later, after I studied, it's because I wasn't being judged. So once I started to build that confidence, I no longer cared about being judged, ergo not having to stutter. And you bring up depression. Depression for me, you brought up ADD. I got diagnosed with ADD as a kid, which in the 90s, a lot of kids did.
Yeah.
Forced to take Ritalin and all this stuff. And it really changed who I was. Like, okay, I was the class clown, and I was always like saying and doing things. But when I was on that stuff, it changed who I was, but God had a plan for me. I stuttered in high school because my mouth would have got me killed.
Right.
The Ritalin kept me quiet. I got stabbed my sophomore year in high school because I said something. Like, to me, it was funny. In my head, it made sense. I said it, and I got stabbed. Like, that was their response. So I think God saved my life and allowed me to start talking later on in life. But going to the depression aspect of it, I joined the military to be pararescue. Like I said earlier, I wanted to be Chuck Norris. Like, that he was the man, Delta Force. So I joined the Air Force. I wanted to go pararescue, combat controller. But I wanted to do it because everybody else around me thought it was cool. So I didn't give my all to it, and I ended up failing one of the swim tests. So I ended up being K-9. So that was a huge failure, setback in my life. Then I became a cop. I figured, you know what? Like, I barely graduated high school. I just want to carry a gun because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. So I became a cop. And what's crazy is I've never seen a child body bag. Didn't know they existed. I always thought the body bags were like the ones you see on TV. Right. So I see this like 4 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot black bag. I'm like, what's that? And my field training officer was like, that is a child. Wow. And I saw her a couple days ago, like playing outside.
Right. Oh man.
And then when I found out how she was taken out, like the cigarette burns, multiple, like broken femur. Wow. Man, like it. In the movies where somebody cries so hard or they like their knees buckle and they just fall? Yeah. I'm in uniform and that happened. But what I called toughening up, I stopped feeling. You see a bunch of calls like that, or you go to a bunch of calls like that, it changes who you are. It hardens you. And I got to the point like where I was depressed. Like I was in a relationship, it wasn't going well. Cop thing wasn't going well, but everybody knew Dom to smile. So I had to maintain this, right?
Oh, man. Yeah.
I had to maintain that, what so many of us do. And I didn't recognize where I was going. Like I started becoming, I was just too rough on people.
Yeah.
I thought this is what I was supposed to do. I'm a tough guy. I'm around all these alpha males. I just go hard, kicking doors. But I realized that, long story short, is I started kicking in doors without a bulletproof vest on. Like, to me, I was tough. Like, Dom's crazy. All my guys around me, Dom's crazy. I'm like, yeah, I ate that up because to me, it validated my existence. But I really just wanted people to, like, I wanted to get shot going into a door because if I shoot myself, like, my family doesn't get my death benefits.
Right.
But if somebody takes me out, so there's suicide by cop, this is suicide by suspect.
Right.
And there was a moment. I'm standing there, like I'm engaged, locked in on this dude. He's got a knife. He's about a good 10 yards in front of me, and I'm like, 3 shots, 1 in the head, 2 in the chest. I got him. But I see his boys behind him, his sons. And they range from like 7, 5, and 3. And one of the kids is like, Daddy, is everything okay? And the dude was heated. And I just looked around him, and I was like, I can't take this dude out in front of his kids. I can't.
Wow.
Like, I'm not gonna do that. And I've been fighting. I'm a trained fighter. At that moment, I was a good trained fighter.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Holster my weapon. I'm willing to take a stab for those kids because I don't want those kids to think a cop killed their dad and then ruin their lives for the rest of their life.
Right.
So he charged after me like 2 lions. We both charged after each other. Man, I kicked the mess out that boy. Got him to a ground, effected the arrest, and I put my 2 weeks notice in to about 3 or 4 days after that.
Wow. That's powerful. I mean, I can, when I asked you to, make sure we can feel the emotion, like I can imagine, or maybe I should say I can't imagine those couple of instances, right? Seeing the child body bag.
Right.
And then, split second decision of, I'm not going to shoot this guy because his children are around him. Now, you brought those up because you talked about how, that depression and what people expected of you,
right?
How that changed your decisions and how you were handling yourself. How have those obstacles, now that you're on the other side of them and you're looking back and you've learned lessons from them, how have those shaped you going forward or your purpose?
Oh man, like honestly, and I don't mean to jest about this, but if I can kick in a door without a bulletproof vest on and be confident enough to engage and apprehend suspects and never get shot, bro, there's nothing I can't do.
Right.
Like in my mind, one of the things I tell myself is like, bro, you're alive. If it hurts, it beats getting shot at. I'm not getting shot at. I'm not dead. If I can kick in the door, metaphorically, what can I kick in for my life?
Yeah.
And I use that to get to probably halfway to where I'm at now. And then I just became more strategic. I began to shed a lot of the negativity that I was holding on to because I thought that it validated who I was. I no longer introduced myself as, I'm a veteran, I'm an ex-cop. Like, that's not me.
Right.
Because once you remove the badge, right, whether it's security police, K-9, or whether it's law enforcement, like, I'm just a dude. I'm just a dude like the next guy. Like, I just want to have fun. Yeah.
I would like to know, like you talked about, you went to different people's houses and you found out that the money didn't change anything, right? I'd love to know, like, why. I'm in the middle of reading Start With Why, right? And I'm not sure if you read that before, but, you could have seen all of that and still decided to do something different, but you didn't. That somehow that affected you. There's a reason you gave that story. And so I'd love to know a little bit more about your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? You're helping people, like you said, find out that leadership isn't about a title, that we need leadership in our everyday lives. Why are you doing that? Why do you care?
You know what? So I was the kid that grew up in the hood, right? Blood, gang, the whole nine. And I saw people hurt then. My thought process was, I make money, I get out, I'll be good. But then I start responding to these people's homes that have money, and money doesn't fix the fact that your daughter got raped, right? Money doesn't fix the fact that you caught your wife cheating on you, and you got to make a split-second decision, like, do I murder this dude? Or do I suck it up and then years later I'm killing myself? Money doesn't fix the fact that you have a coke habit, right? Money doesn't fix anything internally. Yeah. Right. It's a Band-Aid. And I do what I do because more people hurt than don't. But so many people walk around in this fog of, as long as I do this, which I was that guy, like, everything's going to be all right. I want people to know that I'm fine, but most people aren't fine. And when I've had employees come to me and tell me, hey, bro, and there's a guy, I'm like, man, you got scratches on your neck. What's wrong? My wife beat the crap out of me. Or a manager come to me and say, hey, one of my employees, her husband takes a blowtorch to her leg once or twice a week if she doesn't make the meal right. And it's on her inner thigh, but she comes to work with a smile, right? Those same people that have to deal with that stuff, like, they still got to go to the grocery store. Yeah. Right? They still got to go to work. They still got to go to the post office. Like, they still got to go to the gas station. So I've learned that I'm not here for me. Like, I should have been dead a long time ago. But I have a greater purpose. And my passion is my purpose for my passion is my why. Yeah. Who am I to walk outside my front door and not smile? Like, I can breathe. How many people didn't wake up last night? Who am I to go into a grocery store and not talk to the clerk because I'm sitting here on Instagram and social media tweeting and texting somebody? Yeah. No. Do you think that clerk wanted to be 48 years old, ringing your doggone celery up at $15 an hour? No. I'm sure when she was a little girl, she had bigger aspirations for herself. But what happened between 15 to being 48 years of age, and now she's stuck working as a clerk at a grocery store? Nobody plans on that. So who am I not to engage her and find out about her? Because most people go through this life and they don't acknowledge other people because they're so caught up in themselves. Yeah. You start to bridge the gap between your mind and your heart, and you start to infuse other people into your world and validate their existence. Yeah. If I can be the only person that puts a smile on your face for 3 minutes out of 365 days in a year, but then that smile and the way you feel makes you feel valued and warm inside. Right. Like, that's a ripple effect. It keeps going. You go home, you share that with your kids. Right. So my why is because so many people walk around they don't smile. They don't know why they don't smile.
Yeah. And on top of that, you talked about two different types of smiling too, right? You talked about when you were going through that stuff and you weren't really being true to you. Right. You smile because you're putting on an act. Right. And I've been there, right? I've been there where you feel like you got to do this. And then you're drained at the end of the day because you didn't really want to smile. But you're still smiling now, but it's completely different. It's because you've refocused what you're looking at. Right. You're grateful for what you have. Right. And I got to say, something that's common in your story, my story, and many other people's stories is that, we've had those moments in our life where we can look back to and say, if I survived that, there's no reason why I can't do anything. Right? There's no reason why I should be wasting this time on earth. And I realized that this time is not just about me, right? I need to be helping people. I need to help people who felt like I just felt and make sure that they get out of that faster than I did. Right?
Like, it shouldn't take 30 something years, right? Yeah. And I'm so intentional. Like, when I read a book, right? When I read or I'm doing something, I don't get tired because I'm like, I gotta find out what's behind this page. Because what I learned behind this page, I'm gonna regurgitate to somebody in this world, and it's gonna change their life.
Absolutely.
I don't watch TV. I mean, me and my wife watch TV periodically, but I don't have cable. I've never had cable, right? Yeah. Hey, it's football season. Bro, let me explain something to you. You're going to sit there and spend $100 and something on football season or the ticket for the television, buy the jerseys, but you and your wife don't even talk. Like you don't, I have clients now that prior to us, them being my coaching client, they did not know that for the last 5 years, their son was pretty much one of the best artists in his school.
Wow.
But quick to turn on some football.
Yeah.
You can't hold a conversation. You and your spouse are walking through the house like two rival football teams, not talking, but you want to sit down and watch ESPN and watch football all day?
Right.
Bro, be a man and have that crucial conversation, right? And there's just so many people, forget about the relationship aspect of it. Like, I made a decision a while back. My daughter's 17. I recently got married, hitting a year. I'll hit a year on March 25th. But
okay,
I decided in 2015 January that going forward, any woman that I decide to date, I'm going to treat the same way I expect my any boyfriend of my daughters to treat her. Right. Right. And when you look at, and I'm talking to men, when and women on how you should be treated, but when you look at a woman as not as an object, but you're like, okay, I value myself as a man, first of all. Yeah. And this is somebody's daughter. Like when I did that, at that moment, literally 3 weeks later, I met my now wife. Wow. And like my heart changed, right? I wasn't going after it like prey. I wasn't going after anything like prey. It's being intentional and loving. Like I'm at a point in my life where, like, I can tell somebody I love you. Like there's so many levels of love, right? There's so many facets of it, but it's all because I really know people hurt. Like I wake up thinking, whose life can I make better just simply by saying hello? Right. And not hey, how you doing? And I do a moving. I'm gonna stop. Yeah. Really, how are you doing today? Right.
Yeah, and you know it is something when you change your heart, man. It's funny how easy some of those decisions, some of those habits. It's funny how much easier they get when you actually change your heart. And so, you know, we are very passionate people, clearly. And and I'm a big fan of people, you know, finding their purpose, being passionate. I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about what are some of the goals you're working on now that you're passionate about, that you're really hyped up about getting to?
You know what? I got a lot going on right now, and I just realized it probably about 30 minutes prior to this podcast. I was talking to my wife. I'm being very intentional. I'm working on a TED Talk. Matter of fact, the package, the program just came in today. I'm writing a book that'll be out in June. Think, React, Lead. What else do I have going on? A company hit me up just from one of my Facebook videos, a couple of them, and asked me to, they're not coaches, but they have a large database of clients, and they wanted me to be their coach. And that turned into me doing all their conference calls once a week or once every other week. Wow. I got a call yesterday. They're like, we want you to move past the conference calls. Like you bring too much to just do conference calls, right? Yeah. Yeah. We want you to take over like Arizona and be our speaker for what we do. Yeah.
Right? We need this live.
Right. Like you're too much for this screen. Like you're way too much for this screen. Yeah. Like putting a lion in a pet store. Like, I don't do kibbles and bits, right? I need meat. Right. And it's what else I have going on. And really, and to me, that's not even the important stuff. What's important is like, how much more can I love my wife? Like, how much more can I love my kids, right? Like, my kids need me, or how much more can I love me? Right? That to me is important. Yeah. And the book, I'm speaking in Oklahoma in November. We're working out all the details with one of the top 5 motivational speakers in the world. Looks like us. I'll just leave it at that. And like, I have a lot going on, but those are byproducts of me focusing on myself. Like I didn't plan for any of this. Right. But I prepared for all of it. Yeah. Right? There's a saying we use in the hood, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Right? Like, I see myself as greatness. Right? Because if I don't see me as greatness, I can't expect you or anybody else out there to see me as greatness.
Absolutely.
If I don't see me as greatness, but I expect you to see me as greatness, I'm going to come off cocky, conceited, and somehow, some way, somebody's going to find out my flaws.
Inauthentic, right?
So being authentic with me and going the direction I want to go. And that's why leaders for leaders. It's not leaders for non-leaders. Like, we're all leaders. We're all people of influence. How can we sharpen each other's swords?
Yeah, and you talked about some of the, we'll just call it work stuff you're doing.
Right,
but then you brought it home and talked about the stuff you really value, right? About family and life. And it's important, friends and family. For those of you that are watching and listening, it's important that you get some clarity on that, right? Figure out what you value and then make sure your schedule reflects that. You know, Dom talks about the fact that he's not watching football as much as I might watch football. He's not watching TV. Neither one of us have cable. So, you know, I found that seems to run similar to some folks because he'd rather spend that time with what he values, which is helping people, which is treating the people around him well, including his friends and family. And so, so make sure you have clarity on what it is you want. And then make sure that when you look back at your schedule for the day, that it reflected that. And if it doesn't, make sure your schedule for the next day and the next week and the next month starts to get closer to reflecting what you say you value.
You know, when you bring up a very valid point, you bring up clarity. And it wasn't until, what are we, March? January. So prior military ex-cop, right? There's certain expectations of a person like me. Societal expectations. I'm in this commercialized gym. Bro, I'm on the elliptical. So I'm not an elliptical dude. I'm sitting there, and I'm not knocking anybody's hustle on the elliptical. That's not me. And I'm on the elliptical, and I'm sitting, I'm like, whoa, when did I get soft? Like, I literally had this conversation with myself 5 in the morning at the gym, and I just, like, I was done. Like, I got soft. So I canceled my gym membership at this commercialized gym, and I went to this smaller, like, you wouldn't want to take your daughter to this gym. Like, there's chalk everywhere. Everybody in there is spandex or no shirts, and they're 5 times my size. Like, I'm uncomfortable texting on my phone in this gym. Like, they're all lions. But I needed to be around people that were intentional about one, maybe 2 things in their entire life. Because it's that vibration. If I'm around beast, then I'm going to be beast when I get to do what I do. And then I started going to this guy that I've known for 20 years. He reached out to me to coach, but he owns a kickboxing gym. I used this excuse for so long. I broke my toe on somebody's face kickboxing, and the toe, my bone shattered, so I had it replaced. I'm like, I can't kickbox. But he's like, dude, come to my gym. I'll just let you work out here. I'm like, you know what? I have to, what does John Maxwell say? An effective leader is a leader who's disciplined in their daily activities. So I had to ask myself, like, are all my daily activities disciplined? Everything that I do has to sharpen me, right? My clients expect me to be in shape, right? My clients expect me to look a certain way, right? Based off my bravado and how I come off. So my family expects me to be that way. But more importantly, I expect me to be tough. Not tough as nails, but just confidently tough. So I started kickboxing, right? Part of my day. Going to the gym that I go to, part of my day. Reading books, not watching TV, not listening to the news, right? Because nothing positive comes from that, right? And then focusing on my wife, not playing around with my phone when my wife and kids are around, which I'm still working on. Right? That's hard because I'm like, babe, I'm making money on this. Like, like, I don't care. I say that because it took me 38 years to think about that. If I'm talking to your viewers and anybody listening, what are you doing with every minute of your day? And you can have fun. I skateboard, I ride Ducatis. Me and my wife have a good time. Me and the kids have a good time. But is every part of your day gonna make you better for tomorrow, right? There's a saying that I heard this morning as I was listening to somebody else's an audiobook, and it said to whatever you're doing now, if you're not growing yourself and expanding yourself, then you can't expect to be better than your current self ever. That's right. Absolutely. And you can't expect to do more than you're doing right now either. Yeah, absolutely. Always be uncomfortable. So
as we start to kind of wind down, you talked about audiobooks. I'm just going to throw this in real quick. I love audiobooks. I don't get the chance to sit down and read as much as I want to, so I listen. I listen to audiobooks when I'm in the showers, if I'm cooking, if I'm driving. And so my friends and family know, and I'm telling your listeners and viewers too, this episode of Live the Goals podcast is sponsored by Audible. So if you want a free month of Audible and you want a free download from them, a free book that you get to keep whether you like the trial, the free month or not, go to livethegolds.com/audible. And you'll see there, you can sign up and get your free month and free book. So perfect segue in there. I'm getting better at this, Dom.
I love it. You're a pro if you ask me. I love it.
So here's what we're going to do. Before we wind down and close this out, I got a couple things I make everybody do. And the first thing is I'm going to put you on the hot seat. And I've got a hot seat scenario for you. You ready to play the hot seat scenario, Dom?
I am ready. And I'm going to tell your audience now. He brought this up to me before the call, and I was like, stop. Just stop at hot seat. I want to be caught off guard. So bring it.
There we go. So, Dom, you have to choose which one of these people you're going to swap lives with. So So you got to choose one. You can't say, both or anything like that. You got to choose one. And then you got to tell me just a couple quick steps you're going to do to get these people pointed in the right direction. So here we go. Person A is somebody who works 40 to 50 hours a week, is living check to check, literally living check to check. Okay. Comes home, spends about 2 or 3 hours a day, just kind of wind down from the day. I'm tired, I'm drained, I'm living check to check. So I'm going to spend these next 2 or 3 hours surfing online, chatting with friends on Facebook, maybe watching a little Netflix, goes to sleep, does it again the next day.
Right.
Person B is somebody who is a high income earner. We'll just say 100, 200,000, whatever that number is. It could be whatever, but they're doing fine. But their job, their employer requires them to be at work all the time. We're talking like one of those 70, 80 hour a week type people, right? So they have time for nothing. At least that's how they feel. They feel like they go to work, come home, sleep, go to work, come home, sleep. That's their life. Now, neither one of these people thinks that they are living the life they want to live. They know they want to make changes. They're not living in their purpose. They're not living in their passion. They are just feeling like they're just in the rat race, on hamster on the wheel, and they're ready to make a change somehow. Which person are you going to swap lives with, and what are the first few steps you're going to take to turn this around?
You know what? Let's go with the check-to-check person, because I have been that person for a long time.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, I'll be that. I'm going to swap lives with Mr. Check-to-check.
Okay.
And now,
and then what are you going to do to start turning this around? Because right now, you don't even see what you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm check to check. So basically, I'm me 5 years ago.
Okay.
So that's this easy conversation.
There we go.
I'm gonna suck it up, right? I'm gonna stop acting like I'm tired when I get off work. We have to work 40, 50 hours a week. That's the societal norm. If you don't work, you're a loser. But you choose to do what you're going to do when you get off work. If you're tired, stop eating the garbage that you're eating. I'm talking to me. If you're tired, get off your butt, right? What oxygen does for the brain, when you breathe in fresh outdoor oxygen, like it changes who you are as a person. Get your butt up. It's cold. It's hot. You're alive. Deal with it. Like you can feel. Suck it up and move forward.
Yeah.
So I have a saying, think as an executive, react like a soldier, and lead. So turn your TV off. Completely. Stop chatting with friends that aren't going anywhere, right? You need to chat with yourself. If you're going to talk to somebody and text somebody, text yourself. Right? Instead of listening to music on your way into work and out of work, start listening to audiobooks, right? Or just go to YouTube. I got a YouTube channel, Think, React, Lead. Everything in there is motivational. Like it's going to inspire you to get to that next level. So I'm talking to me, I'm going to listen to me, right? Now, you need to pay somebody to write your resume, clean up the facial hair, look like, I said this earlier, look like the person that you're going to be proud of when you're 80. So whatever that looks like today, you might need to go buy a suit, right? You might need to lose some weight. You might need to clean up the facial hair, get a haircut, take the earrings out your ears, stop buying Jordans because you don't. I've seen you play basketball, not you, me.
You've probably seen me play too,
right. Then. You stuck at it, right? And then start reading a book on how to network. Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yes.
Right? and write down the 5 things that you want to be, right, over the next 12 months. So write them down in marker, put them on a big piece of paper, and take some tape, put it on the wall, or a thumbtack. Make it be the first thing you see every day. Women, you got lipstick, write it on your mirror. So you see it every day. I am going to be great at being me. I am going to be a 6-figure earner by this time next 2018. Mm-hmm. I am going to be a better father, right? I am going to be more intentional with my life. I'm going to let go of all my past hurts. Mm-hmm. I'm going to stop blaming my parents as a 35-year-old grown doggone man for where I think they led me to be today. You control you, right? Yeah. I'm writing those things down on my mirror. And then after that, I'm going to start reading books, right? If I don't know what to read, I'm going to ask. I'm going to stop walking around like my stuff doesn't stink and stop treating other people like they don't exist, right? I'm going to stop treating women like they're an object, right? I'm going to pay more attention to the clarity that I don't have. I'm going to engage my physical body, and I don't care what your religion beliefs are. I'm going to engage my spiritual mindset, my emotions, and everything that I do. When I wake up going forward, I need to add value to at least one person throughout the day as I begin to impact and create a legacy.
Woo! Talking to your old you, huh?
Yes.
I hear you. And talking to a lot of other people too, Dom. That is the way to knock that hot seat scenario out of the park, man. Dom is dropping knowledge on y'all, dropping jewels. So I hope that y'all are taking this to heart, and I hope that it changes your heart and makes you take action, right? Think, react, and lead. I hope it makes you think and you act, like he said, and then it leads you to start leading yourself. So Dom, we're wrapping up now, and I just to end this here, I would love for you to give us a motivational quote or a mantra or something you say to yourself, whatever it is that you use to help get you through the day, or maybe it's something you're using this week.
I have a couple of them. So, and this is just based off my life. It beats getting shot at.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Think as an executive, react like a soldier, and lead. 2 more. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And this is for me, is what I'm posting today or what I'm going to do today, will my parents be proud?
I love that. And and I'm supposed to be wrapping up, but that is something that our teenagers could absolutely learn from. I do a lot of leadership training for student leaders. Nice. And even though they're student leaders, sometimes they don't ask themselves that question you just asked, right? Will I be proud of this? Not even my grandparents, right? Will I be proud of this a year from now? Right. But definitely it changes your perspective if you think about grandma and grandpa. Will they be proud of it?
Exactly.
So, we're wrapping up here. I know I've got some folks that are going to want to find out how to get in touch with you.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
How can they reach you? How can they find more about you?
You know what? You can check me on Instagram, Dom Faussette. That's D-O-M as in Mary, F as in Foxtrot, A-U-S-S-E, T as in Tango, T as in Tango, E. That's Instagram. Same spelling for my Facebook, right? You can direct message me, instant message me. Heck, you can call me, 602-481-0650.
I love it.
Let's see. Email dom@leaders.co. Right? And, we can go from there. If you're serious. Now, don't contact me if you're not ready to be metaphorically punched in the face. Because if you ask me a question and you don't like my answer, I'm going to call you out.
Yeah.
That's just how I get down. I only deal with real people.
Right. And I thank friends and family, if you have been listening or watching this, you're clear with who Dom is, right? There's no doubt what you're going to get if you call or contact Dom. So Dom, thank you. Friends and family, those of you listening, if you got the podcast or the app, then you see that there are links. All the things he just mentioned, there are links right in the notes where you can click on it and get directly to him. And Dom, just thank you again. I appreciate you taking this time out of your day to share and punch my folks in the face and hopefully wake a few people up and get them moving. Friends and family, thank you again for joining us as well. Remember to set goals that matter and live the goals you set. And this has been Dom Faussette, Dale Richardson, host of Live the Goals podcast, speaker, trainer, and coach. Have a great day.
Thanks for checking out the show today, and make sure to click subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. We hope you take away something that helps fill your life with purpose and laughter. And make sure you head over to livethegoals.com for more info on guests and resources. Remember to set and reach goals that lead you to a life of purpose and passion.